So what's new with you, man? Like I know obviously before you had some situations where you couldn't come in. Like how'd you go about like being able to get let back into the country? Because we know that U.S. Customs can be pretty tough, especially with Trump in now.
Yeah.
Well, I had a criminal record, so I couldn't go to the States for about 10 years. They let me in for a year. If I was a good boy, which I was, they said they let me back in. And unfortunately, it took 11 months to process my paperwork, so I couldn't go to the States again. They've let me back in. It's been a week, and so I'm already here.
Yeah. And it was something like with I mean, if you could talk about it, I think it's done. This is like a decade, like almost
It's over
a
10 years ago, yeah.
Something to do with like
I was selling steroids.
Okay. And like, did you got caught in the United States with them?
No,
Or
I was
going back to
only
Canada?
in Canada. It was in, and see, the thing is with Canada versus the United States, steroids are illegal in the United States. In Canada, they're legal. I can use them.
Okay.
The problem is you can't sell them.
Okay.
And so I was selling them to my friends, people I was coaching, and so eventually they caught on, and you know that's where it went wrong.
Gotcha. Was it like RCMP or CBSA or
CBSA, yeah, exactly.
okay.
The RCMP don't care. Half of them are using it, like literally.
And for those that are wondering, for the American people, RCMP guys is like their equivalent of the FBI.
Or
That's their-
police, I guess.
Yeah,
Same-
that's like their national police, and then CBSA would be the equivalent to like our Customs and Border Protection.
Yes, exactly.
So it was CBSA. Like, were you trying to come in or go out? Or?
I had products that had come in across from like China and whatnot. Yeah,
So they intercepted the package and then
packages, a lot of them,
Okay.
but with very small amounts.
did they like do the whole what we call in America controlled delivery, where they deliver the drugs and then they
No,
bust you
they
after?
just burst. They just bust the door down. Yeah,
They didn't even bother to deliver.
Yeah,
They
they're
was
just
like,
like-
we know what's going here.
they had followed me for a long time. Yeah.
Oh wow.
You know, that's crazy though, because you know, even in America, even though steroids are illegal, it's very tough to get like a steroid case prosecuted federally by the feds. Like you need a lot of it, or it needs to be someone that's like in a trusted position doing it. I remember we did a steroid case on some cops in Connecticut.
Well, I was told from my
in the
former
day.
fitness bodybuilder that most people are using it anyway in the competitions. Like if you're not using it, you're kind of like losing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's so common, but I think people don't want to talk about it. They want to keep it hush hush. I'm very open what's going on, but I mean what I think is I have a very good story because I literally abused steroids for 10 years and then stopped them. For the last 5 I've stopped, but I'm only on HRT prescribed by my doctor. And my message on my YouTube channel is not to do it, that you're going to regret it. You got these young guys like Sam Sulik or Chris Bumstead. They've got millions of followers. They have incredible physiques, and these young guys, teenagers, see that and they have an admiration of them. They want to be like them. And so they will start using steroids. Every year, it seems the guys get younger. And so I'm an older guy. I'm 49. You know, I'm pushing 50. 50 keys of Turk across the border, but that's a different story. And so I'm like, guys, you eventually will regret it. Like, I'm old enough, and they're young, and they're like, I'll never do that. I'm like, I was once you. All these 22-year-olds, they're thinking I'm just some old guy. I was 22. And so now that I'm older, I have the wisdom. And so when I warn people, it's like, I'm speaking from experience. I think I'm somebody that people can listen to. Like, I'm very honest, open, transparent. I tell you what I think. And so when I'm telling you, you're on steroids in your 20s and eventually you're going to be 50, you're going to look back and be like, why did I do this? I'm not kidding.
And you know, that's kind of a refreshing change because, you know, I remember when I was consuming a lot of, you know, fitness YouTube stuff from the early 2010s up until about 2017-ish, right? And I might be showing my datedness here, but I remember talking about gear, as they would call it, was taboo. Like, you know, no one would ever admit it. Everyone was, you know, what they would call a fake natty or half natty or whatever it may be. And it was just a taboo thing that no one wanted to touch because, you know, they didn't want to lose their sponsorship with Gymshark or ON or one of these other big companies. But now it seems as though, you know, if you aren't transparent about it, you're basically cooked, right? Being so lying is no longer the way. Versus I remember no one would admit that they were on it before me. Does Michael Hearn still run around and say he's natural?
He still says he's
To this
natty in
day.
his 50s. I mean, he must be from Krypton because no one looks like that in their 50s. But people still believe it.
Wow. So what would you say are like some of the biggest differences, I guess, within like the last, well, damn near a decade now of, you know, fitness YouTube where before it used to be very bad to admit that stuff, but there's like guys like Chris Bumstead, etc. Do they admit that they're on gear? Or
Yes.
They do, right?
I would say the biggest
Versus Phil
difference
Heath would
is...
never
No.
during his era.
The biggest difference is people are now not only admitting to it, they're promoting it. They're getting glorified. They're making money from it. Guys like Togi that literally are like, I gamble, I do rec drugs, and I do gear, and I do it on purpose to get famous, and it's working. Millions of videos.
Isn't that the guy that is cool with Nut Boys?
I
Togi's...
think so.
Yeah.
I think with Steiny, yeah. I
Okay,
think
Yeah,
so.
he he's famous for gambling.
Okay.
I've done so many videos on this guy. I've gone over his blood work, showing him that this guy's going to die early death, and it's like you
Oh,
warn
he's
people
showing his blood work?
multiple times. I've shown him. I'm like, this guy has chlamydia. He's probably got gonorrhea. He's going to die. Like, oh, it's crazy.
Wait, he has that shit?
Well, based on the blood work, absolutely.
What the fuck?
Okay, I'm intrigued now. Can you tell us
holy.
a little bit about that? Like, how did you know from looking at his? Because he posted his blood work on there. I'm assuming to tell people I'm on gear.
He's showing people that, you know, it's not that bad. It's not a big deal. Like, look at this, look at this, look at that. I'm pretty good. And it's like, bro, you just outed yourself based on what I'm seeing. There's these markers showing you probably going to have some kind of liver disease. You're probably going to have some kidney problems. You have high blood pressure. You know, everything lists up that it's not good. But he's like, that's not a big deal.
And this guy's in his 20s.
He's 22.
Holy shit! And he
Well,
already.
fame and clout, wanting to be on top, makes you do crazy stuff.
And it worked. And so you see Togi, and you're like, if I go on
Chlamydia is
gear and
crazy,
put
though.
on 25
How do you
pounds
know
of muscle,
he
I
got
can pop.
chlamydia? How do you know that though?
Well, technically, I don't. It's
Okay.
it's my genius scientist that works with me, Marwan, who's sitting with me and going over all his blood work. This guy worked for a very famous health clinic. I won't name the name.
Okay.
But he worked for this, and so he's one of these guys that reads the blood work, and he knows everything, and he's just going through everything step by step, and he's like, this is indication of that, this and this and this, and so I report on this, because
with
I'm
what
not a
degree of-
doctor. I wouldn't be
I
able
was
to do
going to
this
ask
at
you, like,
this
how do
level.
you? Okay.
Yeah, like you would need a PhD and then some to be able to know the level of analysis that he can do, and not many people could do it.
What degree of certainty would you say that it's he has chlamydia or these other diseases?
Very high.
Wow. Like over 90?
I would say so.
Damn. So he can literally look at the blood panel and can see all the other problems there.
And
or
that's the
anomalies.
least of his worries. But I mean, he'll say things like, oh, it just goes away. And it's like, no, it doesn't. But
Well, I'll tell you this, man.
Hey, yo, that nigga's got to be half black to say some shit like that.
No,
Hey, it just goes away.
Bro, nowadays in the dating game, bro, it's scary out here, bro. You gotta be careful.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You never know. So,
yeah.
Bruh. Okay, so they're honest about it because I remember, like, right, like guys like Rich Piana, recipes to him, Boston Lloyd, whatever. Those guys were considered like going against the grain for like talking about gear and talking about, yeah, I'm not natural. Like that was considered fucking career suicide back then. But now it seems as though it's mainstream for everyone from Olympia to fitness influencers are honest about it. Versus I remember when I was like really into it, you know, when Kai Green and Phil Heath were having battles at the Olympia like 10 years ago. No one ever talked about gear usage ever. Like it was taboo. But nowadays I guess they are. So Chris Bumstead is the main guy now. Is he winning all the Olympias?
He's won 6 in a row. He's now retired. He also has an autoimmune disease, kidney problems. It's probably shortening his life by 10, 20 years. No one seems to care. 25 million followers. I'm like, this is our hero. And maybe he retired early. He's only 29. Maybe he retired
wow.
because of
Damn.
this. You can't do steroids for that long safely. People are like, no, I do it safely. It's like you can't abuse gear safely. Like
Yeah.
they don't go together.
Yeah.
so I guess from someone that's a novice in bodybuilding, what's the best way to get a insane body naturally? Well, when it's naturally, I mean, like, is it TRT? What do you use to like kind of like get that?
Well,
boost?
first of all,
The least
TRT
invasive,
wouldn't
I mean,
be
you
natural.
mean, right?
At least
so
invasive.
so use some drugs, but the least invasive
yeah,
way, right?
that won't kill you 10 years earlier or 20 years earlier.
Okay.
So you're saying what could you do that's not natural to improve your physique?
Pretty much.
I would say
That won't kill
TRT
you
is
early.
probably the safest thing that you could do, being monitored by your doctor, making sure that your blood work is in order. Like I'm on TRT. I'm on 140 milligrams of test a week. You know, I work with Transcend. They go through your blood work and prescribe whatever you need to do it as safe as possible. But what most people are doing, they're not going through a clinic. They're just getting it underground from the guy at the gym, and they have no idea what they're taking.
From a guy's car in the trunk.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Here you go, buddy.
you don't know what you're doing, but the
Some
problem is they're
Mexico
not
shit.
getting their blood work done.
Yeah.
Like the problem is 100 people could all take the same dose. 10 of them, it's really bad for them. The other 90, not a big deal, but how do you know which one you are? You don't.
Damn. So that's crazy. So you kind of knew just from looking at the blood work. That's wild though that you guys but you got a guy that's like an expert that can look at these
well,
panels.
that's what blood work is for. And
Yeah.
any really good doctor could do this, but I mean, not many are qualified for that. So, but that's what you want to do. If you're using steroids, you want to get your blood work done and look, because it's a ticking time bomb. If you don't know, hey, this is going on in your body, in me, I would be healthy. But for you doing the same cycle, you might be dying 10 years younger.
Yeah, I did blood work 2 months ago just to see like where I was at. I'm pretty healthy, but I'm low in testosterone. So I got
How
this,
low?
Uh,
Do you have it in nanograms per deciliter?
Say
Because
right now.
most people think it's too low, but it's actually normal.
Really?
We've been brainwashed to think that, hey, if you're not 800, that somehow there's a problem.
it was like 5 something.
Yeah, that's
Sure enough.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm
shit.
on
Well, I'll tell you this-
testosterone.
I'll tell you this, bro.
My range is 565 to 750.
Oh shit.
And I'm on HRT prescribed by a doctor, and I'm in the 500s to 700s. Now, we got a guy like Alex Eubank. I don't know if you guys know this guy. He was this famous natty, and he just went on HRT. He was on 200 milligrams a week, and his testosterone levels were 1,500, which is way too high, and he's lowered his dose to 150.
I was going to ask you, like, what is the perfect range to be in?
Like
for
anything over
optimality?
1,000 is redonkulous. It's like amazing. Like maybe point something percent of the population would be that high.
Okay, so anything over 1,000. What would you say is the upper limits of for optimality and while preserving your?
I would say right at
vitality?
1,000.
Right
Like
at 1,000?
I'm at,
Okay.
like you got to think. I'm 49. I obviously care how I look, and my dose is 140. I'm in the 700s, 500. If I thought it was safe to just go up to 200 milligrams, wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
And so the fact that I'm not, it could kind of give people an indication that you don't want to push it.
Yeah.
Like if growth hormone were actually that safe, why am I not on it?
Lowest
And I
effective-
would be telling you if I was, why wouldn't I? They would get more views. Hey, guys, I'm taking growth hormone now.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm not should be telling people you probably don't want to take these things unless you actually really need it.
So minimum effective dose is the mantra, it seems.
Absolutely. The lowest dose that makes you happy is what I always say.
Now HGH, there's tends to be this idea that it's like for growth, but isn't it really for like anti-aging and hormone regulation?
It
or?
can be anti-aging, but what I like to think of it is it's stealing from your future. You're going to look younger, the hair, the nails, better sleep and all that now,
Gotcha.
but rather than living to 90, maybe only live to 80.
Oh.
So I see it as a borrowing from the future. That's why I don't do it, because I would love to take it. Like, why not? But it's just not worth it to me. The risk isn't there. I just can't.
Gotcha. So it's so pretty much, yeah. All right. And it's pretty much been, because I'm sure it's one of the very, highly studied drug because so many people use it, that basically, yeah, you're taking a loan out against your life essentially.
Yeah, you're trading in my future health and years to look good today, which a lot of young people don't care. Like when I took steroids in my 30s, I didn't care about when I'm 90, but now that I'm older, it's like, maybe it wasn't worth it. And when you're in that kind of that spotlight, and I'm like, I want to be a pro, I want to be famous, I want to, make money from this, I want to make it my career. You do things that you probably shouldn't. So I start taking steroids. I keep upping the doses. I basically took the highest dose that I could physically handle. I would push the trend higher and higher, and then I'm like, I can't sleep. I feel like shit.
At your peak, what was your stack?
I did 700 trend for a week and couldn't handle it. And that's just one of the items. I do like 700 tests, 700 trend, like 700 as many things as I could, plus orals on top of that.
Can you
couldn't
name some
sleep.
of the, like, what was your, like, can you tell them what your stack was that you were taking at your peak when you were competing and everything?
Like I
the
think
dosages?
700 of everything, like tests.
TRT.
Oh no, 700 tests, 700 trend, 700 masterone, 700 EQ. But the
shit.
trend could only do that for like a week. I literally felt like my heart was racing. I felt like anxiety. I felt like
Were you getting
crappy.
sweats?
I was
Like the
getting
night sweats and
Oh,
stuff?
absolutely. I'd sweat through blankets. I had to sweat. Yeah, oh yeah. It was really bad. And I did that for like a week. I had to lower my dose to 500. And even at 500, like when you're on low doses, for like what I would call low doses when I was then would be like, say 700 milligrams a test and that's it.
Yeah.
I felt amazing. I felt great. When I was on all that trend, I could not wait for the cycle to be over. So I'm on all these drugs because I'm trying to win a show.
Pro card.
And I'm just thinking, I can't wait to go off so I can feel normal again.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a guy like Mike Isertel, all he feels is rage. He can remember in the distant past seeing that river and the emotions he felt about it, but he doesn't feel that anymore. He can't experience normal human emotions. So if you see him talk about his experience with steroids, I don't understand how anyone could ever do them.
And I'm definitely I got a question to ask about that. So I guess for the trend, because you hear so many different things from people, like what was the worst side effect for you? Because I think that's the one that does most of gets you most of the gains, but also gives you some of the worst side effects.
Well, some of the worst things that people talk about, like the trend cough, but I'm like, I don't think people care. Like you cough for 5 to 10 minutes straight and you think you're going to die.
Shit.
But to me, that's not really that bad. I would say for me, trendsomnia, where you just can't sleep. Like imagine every night struggling to sleep more than 3 hours. You need to sleep to grow, and you just can't. So then I got essentially addicted to sleeping pills to counteract the fact that I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
So as the steroids went up, the sleeping pills went up. I'm on Seroquel. I'm doing 100 milligrams just to go to sleep. Zopicones every night. And I'm like, this is the only way I could sleep. Wow. And so it's just an anxiety that you just feel constantly like on edge. Like my heart, there's something in my chest that just didn't feel right. And I hated it.
Did it, and obviously this affects everyone differently, but what Tren makes you rage as well, doesn't it?
Now, I personally think that it's something that you already have. It exploits it more. Like I'm a very, like people think they see me screaming and shouting on the camera, but like really, if you just knew me in private, I'm just a chill guy.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Just a chill guy.
Just
That's
a
that
chill
meme, right?
guy. Exactly. I'm that meme. And it's like when people meet me, bro, how come you're not yelling? How come you're not? I'm like, I'm just a normal guy. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But you know, the steroids, it kind of amplifies. If you're already aggressive, it makes you more aggressive.
Yeah.
If you're very sexual, it makes you more sexual. It's even been shown to make some guys turn gay.
Oh,
Like
wow.
they'll be like
What?
that crazy. Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Derek, which we spoke about, he made a video talking about this. It's been shown to do this. Some people will go from liking a certain type of girl to like a fatter girl. Or in a conversation, I want to say yesterday, he's like, the more androgens I'm on, like Tren or Test, the more I go for the big jack girls with the deep voices. And it's like, and I like it. Just from taking steroids, it changes. And when they're off cycle, it's like, I like a normal looking woman. So it changes your mind on what you're looking for. Literally.
I'll tell you this, nigga. If I thought about using steroids, I'm doing it now. Fuck that, bro. Hell
It's
no.
some scary shit. And then when the biggest problem with steroids is not when you're on them. Like, the side effects, you see the muscles, you look better and so on. So it's like, screw that. I don't care. But when you go off and you start seeing your muscles shrink and then you can't get hard on and you're like, what's the point of having this body if I can't get hard? I have no sex drive anymore. I feel like shit all the time. And then what happens? You go back on because you're chasing the high. It's like being addicted to drugs, like a recreational. Like if you're doing lines of creatine all the time and you stop and you're like addicted, you're going to want to keep doing it. Same happens with steroids. Once you get that dream physique, you're on a 4-month cycle, you stop. Well, I want it back.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a lot of bodybuilders here in Miami that have girlfriends that are doing their thing. I wonder why.
Man. So what would you say is the worst, drug in any stack? Is it the Tren or is it the EQ, or what would you say is by far the worst?
Halotestin, which was an oral, it's a hardener at the end for show prep. It gives you a lot of energy and aggression, but that could make me a bit angry. But I don't know, maybe it's that, but it's also could be the fact that I'm really dieting hard at that point. But certainly Tren is the one that I think is the worst. But halotestin, orally, it's not good for your kidneys and whatnot. That one's very careful to be with. You can only do it for like maybe 2 to 4 weeks. But Tren certainly... it's about as bad as you can get.
What about Anavar? I've been told that.
My favorite by far?
Yeah.
I loved Anavar.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to bullshit. Like, I'm like saying, you know this? Like, I liked Anavar so much that to this day, it's been 5 years, I want to do Anavar still. Because the pumps, like, it's just crazy. It's like, think of Cialis on steroids.
Dang.
Cialis gives you a crazy pump. If you watch Will Tennyson's last video, my goodness, he went through all the like half natty stuff, like terkestrone and Cialis and various things. And he was like, Cialis, I'm giving it a 6 out of 5 stars. Like the pumps, the veins, it really does make a difference. And so Anavar, it's like that, but it also adds the strength.
Okay.
Is Cialis safe to use before working out though?
In lower doses, for 99% of people, absolutely. For some people,
So you're just working out with a hard-on?
well, that's the thing. People are worried about that.
hope
But
not.
like you,
People might get the wrong idea, right?
Oh, they definitely will.
Yeah, like girls might think you're a perv. You're like, no, I'm just trying to get a good pump.
The thing with
Oh, they're gonna
Cialis
make
is
a
you
video
need
on
to be
TikTok.
turned on.
TikTok video. You're gonna post that shit, and then what's his name, Joey?
Joey
This is
Swole?
not good for the gym, man. What
Yeah.
are you doing, bro?
Yeah, you're gonna be a Joey
Scaring the
Soul
hose
video,
away,
man.
Scaring the hose away, man.
Yeah.
I would say Cialis one of the most underrated supplements you can get.
Shit.
In terms of it's still considered natural. It's not banned by WADA, but it's going to give you that extra pump.
Can you get it over the counter? Cialis? I don't think so.
no.
From your doctor, but
But
no.
most doctors will sell it.
Yo,
Yeah.
so you ever heard about Superman?
The Cialis and
Yes.
Viagra stack.
Yes. So
I've done those
I
in
actually,
the past.
I actually did one on vacation with a chick.
Yeah.
But my doctor gave it to me. Shout out to him. You know who you are. And let's just say, bro, like she was destroyed.
I can imagine. It can make a friggin' difference. Well, do you know how many guys who are on steroids after they come off, they need Cialis Viagra just to perform?
Oh, wow.
I would say at least 50%, and it's not like they're going to come out and talk about it.
Yeah.
People talk about all the good stuff. They're not talking about the you know, the crap that's going on. They're not going to show you the blood work or talk about the fact that it's taking years off their life, their blood pressure and all that. They're just talking about, yeah, I'm jacked, look at me. They're not talking about the shit that goes on.
Damn. This is my old test results. I can't find the new ones, but
yes.
that's my test scores right there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, bro. Because you know what's funny, bro? Like,
What's your assessment on that, Greg?
hey, I'm pretty
It's
healthy, man.
601. This is amazing.
Oh, thanks, bro. Yo, but it's funny. So he
Well,
was
that
like,
explains why this nigga's a horn dog. He's always chasing after us. All this guy does is chase after
hold
girls,
on,
man.
man. Hold on,
Like
man.
at 600, there's
Yeah.
no reason to change anything. And if anyone says, oh, that's on the low side, they're probably trying to sell you gear.
Ah, okay. Because I've been offered Anavar, all this shit. I'm like, nigga. Oh, Myron told me don't do it, so I'm not doing none of the shit. But I feel way better.
Anavar is popular with the women, though, isn't it?
It's the least androgenic steroid that I can think of for women to do. So that by androgenic, I mean that's likely to cause virilization or like a deepening of the voice,
Allows
the
them to stay
Adam's apple
feminine, so
growth.
it doesn't increase
So
their.
most women who compete in bikini pageants, or most Instagram girls that we see that are like hot girls that we would think are hot, are probably taking Anavar.
Yes.
But they're not going to admit it.
Of course.
And they're going to take it in low enough doses that no one's going to suspect them. You're thinking, oh, you're on Anavar, you're on steroids, oh, you probably look like a man. No, you look like a bikini model. That's what they're taking.
Wow, so even bikini models are taking
Most
it.
bikini
Not
models.
figure, which is like a step up fitness-wise.
Not all,
figure.
not 99%. But yeah, in the bottom end bikini, most are taking Anavar.
Yo, this is some like top level shit that if you don't know, you don't know. But he knows behind the scenes.
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
think of it. I used to coach these girls, and I still do in secret coach people, and their coaches think they're natural, and they're asking me what they're doing.
Wow. You know, Anavar, you know, I've heard about it for years. You know, they make the joke, you know, eat clean and trend hard, and Anavar give up.
Yeah.
You know, the old memes. Whatever happens to the misc, man? Is it done with? Like
bodybuilding.com?
Yeah, like the term Myron Gaines came from there. Like, you know, is the misc gone, man?
Zeus.
Is what gone?
The misc.
The
Like, you know, where
forums.
the forums,
The
from
old
the
forums.
bodybuilding.com forums, like where they used to use like.
I'm too old to have been on forums.
Okay.
Like
Even before, okay.
I'm way too old for that.
You know, like we type in like on Google, like how do I get bigger in the gym? You find like a forum or like a thread of people just.
Wouldn't
talk
that be like Reddit?
This is like 10 years ago.
I feel
though.
like that's
bodybuilding
Reddit.
forums. The misc is a whole other.
Yeah, it's kind of
Bodybuilding.com maybe?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I've heard of that.
that one,
that's
that
what
one
it
never
was.
used it,
Yeah.
but-
The miscellaneous section of bodybuilding.com. It's like where Aziz and these guys like blew up like a decade plus ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Back in the day.
With trolling.
Either way, though, it's probably
Different
dead by
world
now.
now.
I think people do the trolling and all the forum stuff on YouTube video comment sections now.
They probably do.
Like
yeah.
it's right there. I'm
Do
like,
we even lift, bro?
They migrated.
Eat clean and trend hard. Like, yeah, all that stuff.